Sometime in late spring or early summer, a homeowner notices something. A few bees flying near the roofline, maybe around a gap in the siding, or hovering near a chimney, or disappearing into a crack in the eave. At first it seems minor, seasonal, maybe? But over the following days, the activity increases. More bees, consistent flight patterns, always returning to the same spot. Sometimes the first clue isn't seeing bees at all. It's a faint buzzing inside a wall or ceiling that seems to come and go throughout the day. Easy to dismiss. Easy to mistake for something else, but persistent in a way that eventually becomes impossible to ignore. What most people don't realize in that moment is that what they're watching or hearing isn't random, it's organized. And the decision they make in the next few days will either solve the problem cleanly or create a situation that's significantly harder and more expensive to fix. That's what this video is about. Not just how to get rid of bees, but how to do it without making the problem worse. Because with bees, the wrong response almost always leads to a bigger problem than the one you started with. Let's start with why bees are there in the first place. Because once you understand why they chose your house, preventing the next colony becomes much easier than removing the current one. A swarm of honeybees begins when an existing hive becomes overcrowded. The original queen leaves with roughly half the colony in search of a new home. Scout bees fan out in every direction, inspecting potential sites with remarkable precision. They evaluate cavity size, orientation, proximity to moisture, protection from wind and predators, and ease of entry. Most homes are rejected. Yours is chosen because something about it meets the colony's exact requirements. When scouts find a location that qualifies, they return to the swarm and communicate its value. The swarm reaches a collective decision and moves. Your wall cavity, your chimney, your attic space, your garden shed. To a scout bee evaluating nesting sites, these aren't human structures. They're cavities, dry, protected, temperature stable, and often perfectly sized for a new colony. The gap in your siding isn't a flaw. It's a front door. This is the part that matters most in the early stages. A swarm that has just landed in a tree, on a fence post, hanging from a branch in a cluster the size of a football, has not yet established a colony. It's resting while scouts evaluate options. A fresh swarm has no hive to defend, no young to protect, and no stored honey. It is at its least defensive and most manageable at this stage. A swarm that's been given a few days to move into a cavity and begin building comb is an entirely different situation. The window between a swarm landing and a colony establishing itself is short, usually 24 to 72 hours. What happens inside that window shapes everything that follows. If you're finding this useful, and we're about to get into the part where most homeowners make decisions that significantly worsen the problem, go ahead and subscribe. This channel covers exactly this kind of practical homeowner knowledge that most people only find out after something has already gone wrong. Now let's talk about what happens once bees move in. Once a swarm enters a cavity and begins building, the situation changes completely. Worker bees start drawing out wax comb within days. The queen begins laying eggs. The colony begins storing pollen and nectar. Within a few weeks, a small temporary swarm has become a functioning colony with thousands of members, brood to protect, and food stores to defend. And here's where most homeowners make their first serious mistake. The instinct when you discover bees entering your wall or roofline is to block the entrance, seal it up, stop them from going in and out. But what actually happens is the opposite of containment. Bees that cannot exit their hive will look for another way out. Sometimes that means into your living space, following light sources through wall voids and emerging inside rooms of the home. Sealing a hive entrance without removing the colony doesn't eliminate the problem. It redirects it somewhere less predictable. The second common mistake is spraying. Some bees die. The colony responds defensively. Thousands of individuals simultaneously communicating alarm. The homeowner retreats. The colony survives. And now it associates that entry point with threat. Defensive behavior increases. Everyone in the surrounding area, neighbors, pets, children, faces higher risk simply from proximity. Even if the spray kills a significant portion of the colony, the hive itself remains. And an unremoved hive inside a wall creates a problem most people don't anticipate. Honeybee hives contain wax comb, honey, pollen, and brood. In an active colony, bees regulate hive temperature to around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. When the colony dies, that regulation stops. In warm weather, wax softens and collapses. Honey, which can weigh dozens of pounds in an established hive, begins to liquefy and seep through wall materials, running through insulation, staining ceilings and walls, and creating a continuous moisture and sugar source inside the structure. That source then attracts ants, cockroaches, and rodents. The bee problem is gone. The conditions it left behind start a new infestation cycle. Even if bee activity disappears during winter, that doesn't necessarily mean the structure is free of hive material. Wax and honey remain inside the wall, regardless of whether the colony survived the cold. Come summer, those materials are still there, still attractive, still capable of causing structural damage and drawing secondary pests. This is why removal, not just treatment, is the only approach that fully solves the problem. If what you're dealing with is a fresh swarm, clustered in a visible location, not yet inside a structure, contact a local beekeeper before doing anything else. In many areas, beekeepers actively seek swarms and will collect them at no cost or low cost. A swarm is a valuable source of bees, and an experienced beekeeper can remove a cluster quickly, safely, and with minimal disruption. The bees survive and are relocated. The homeowner's problem is resolved before it becomes structural. Once a colony has been established inside a wall or roof cavity for more than a few weeks, the situation typically requires a licensed pest professional. Doing it correctly requires opening the structure, physically removing all comb and honey, treating the void, and sealing the entry point in the right sequence. This is a multi-step process, and cutting corners at any stage leads directly to the problems already described. Here's a situation that illustrates exactly how this plays out. A homeowner noticed bees entering a gap in the siding near the roofline in early June. Activity was light at first. They assumed the bees would move on. By mid-July, on a warm afternoon, they noticed what looked like grease staining on the interior wall of the room adjacent to the entry point. Light brown, slightly glossy. They pressed their finger against it. It was tacky, honey, seeping through the wall from inside. They called a pest control company. The professional opened the wall and found a colony that had been building for approximately 6 weeks. Removal required cutting a section of interior drywall, extracting all comb and honey by hand, treating the void, and repairing and sealing the wall. The job took most of a day and cost several times what professional intervention in early June would have cost. What started as a free phone call to a beekeeper became a major home repair. The homeowner's question afterward was the right one. What should I have done differently? The answer was simple. Called a beekeeper the first week. That timing gap between first noticing bees and taking action is where most homeowners lose control of the situation. So let's talk about what prevention actually looks like, because removal without prevention is only half a solution. Bees return to locations where previous colonies have established. Pheromone traces left by a colony persist in a cavity long after the bees are gone. A cavity that hosted a hive is strongly attractive to future swarms. This is why professional removal always includes sealing the entry point after extraction. Effective prevention starts with a methodical inspection before swarm season, which in most regions runs from late spring through early summer. Every gap in the siding larger than a quarter inch is a potential entry point. Gaps around utility penetrations, pipes, conduits, cables entering the structure are frequently overlooked. Damaged fascia boards, deteriorating roof edges, gaps in chimney mortar, spaces where siding meets trim. All of these need sealing before the season begins. Vegetation matters too. Tree branches touching the roofline give swarms a natural landing platform close to potential entry points. Keeping growth trimmed back from the structure reduces both the attractiveness of the site and the ease of access. Outbuildings need the same attention. Gaps in wooden siding, spaces under roof lines, openings around vents are all evaluated by scouts during swarm season. Here's what I want you to take away. Most homeowners who end up with a serious bee problem inside their home didn't make one big mistake. They made a small one. They waited. They assumed the bees would leave on their own. They tried a spray and hoped for the best. By the time they took the situation seriously, the options had narrowed and the cost had increased. Remove the bees. Remove the hive completely. Seal the entry point. Then address the conditions that made your home attractive in the first place. That full sequence is what actually solves the problem. Anything less leaves the door open for the same situation next season. Drop a comment and tell me what you're dealing with. What did you notice first? Bees flying or something you heard inside the wall? Your experience might be exactly what someone else watching this needs to hear. And if this kind of honest, practical homeowner content is what you're looking for, subscribe and stick around. There's a lot more coming. The bees didn't choose your home by accident. They chose it because it met their exact requirements. Change what your home is offering, and next season's swarms will keep looking. See you in the next one.